I'm guessing your mood and productivity resembles more of a yo-yo than the Instagram of Jocko Willink. You may be crushing it for days or weeks on end. You're waking up every day, 5 a.m. without your alarm clock, you're exercising regularly, heck, you're even reading books again. And then, just like that, it all disappears. Next thing you know, you got Cheeto dust on your fingers and you can't even remember the last time you went to the gym. No one is immune from getting into a rut or feeling like crap. Here is how to get out of it. What's going on, guys? For those of you who are new here, my name is Kevin Jabal, physician entrepreneur based in Las Vegas, formerly in plastic surgery. Now, I'll admit that intro was a little bit dramatic, but you get the idea. It's very common to find yourself oscillating between, on one end, being really productive, having everything tied down for some period of time, and then on the other hand, feeling like a sloth and just not getting anything done. Before we dive in, of course, the necessary disclaimer, this is not medical advice. I am not your doctor. If you have concerning symptoms, seek professional advice from your physician or a licensed therapist. All right, so step one is a foundation audit. This is something I've only been doing for the last few months, and by doing this, most of the other steps actually become unnecessary because this usually addresses it. So what I do is I run through a checklist of 3 core foundational habits, and those are number 1, sleep, number 2, exercise, and number 3, my morning routine. So breaking it down further, for sleep, it's not just a matter of how many hours I'm sleeping, but also the quality of that sleep. And our memory is, of course, notoriously unreliable, so I rely on data, and I use the Oura Ring to do that, to track my sleep stages, the total amount of sleep, my HRV, my resting heart rate, things like that. Number 2 is exercise. If I haven't gone to the gym or exercised for 3 days and I feel like crap, I have a pretty easy fix that usually works most of the time. And then number 3 is the morning routine. The importance of this one was really highlighted only recently when I got my second dose of the COVID vaccine. The next morning, I felt like total crap. I had a terrible headache, just body feeling off, right? And because I was feeling so off, I actually skipped my morning routine, which rarely happens. What I ended up doing was doing my morning stretching routine at noon rather than at like 7 or 8 a.m. And instantly, I felt way better. All the tension in my shoulders, traps, neck disappeared, my headache was gone. I just felt way better, way looser, way less tense. And now this is definitely part of those foundational habits that I check, whereas in the past I didn't think of it as much. Now I have this whole kind of overkill morning routine that works for me. For a lot of people, it's probably too much. And I would say the 2 most important things for me, because not all of those things are really mission critical, but the 2 most important things would be, number 1, the stretching. That really helps my body just feel way better. And then number 2, mindfulness of some sort. And that can be as little as 5 minutes just focusing on my breath. But Kevin, I feel so crappy, I can't even get to the point of looking at these 3 foundational habits. Look, I get it, and I've been there too. When I'm at that much of a slump, I ask myself, what do I hate more? Do I hate feeling this way, feeling like crap, and just not being proud of how I'm spending my time? Or do I hate working on these 3 foundations? And that usually gets my ass into gear. Now, before we get to step 2, a quick little detour. I don't think it's always necessary or important to be running away from your emotions, if that makes sense. A lot of times we have these difficult emotions, and rather than trying to, push them away and then try to just feel better by following these 4 steps, you may want to actually explore them and see what's there. Do you feel lonely? Do you feel helpless? Do you feel angry? What is the underlying emotion? And I find that by being mindful and curious about this, I've actually grown a lot personally in my life. And everyone has different ways of dealing with that, whether it's journaling or talking to friends or talking to a therapist, but I do think there is true value there. And back to your regular scheduled programming. Step 2 is the 1 small win rule. Oftentimes we're so overwhelmed by all the things we need to take care of that even getting started is intimidating. And this is actually the reason why the Pomodoro technique is so incredibly effective, because it reduces the activation energy, so getting started becomes just way easier. So to get out of a rut, we use the same strategy, the same tactic, but through the 1 small win rule. And what you want to do is focus on 1 small, simple, easy task that shouldn't take you any more than a couple minutes. The idea here is that once you get that ball rolling, once you get moving, it's going to be so much easier to do the next thing and the next thing and the thing after that. If you've seen my book summary of Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a then this diagram is going to look familiar. Essentially, action isn't just the result of motivation and inspiration, but also the cause of it. So to get the ball rolling and to get inserted into this loop, we can take this 1 small action and then we'll feel motivated and inspired to take on further action. When I say small, I really mean small. This can be as simple as making your bed or putting away the dishes. It should be something small, easy, and bite-sized. If you get too ambitious here, you're gonna be stuck where you started. Step 3, build momentum. Now that you have the ball rolling, don't stop. Keep building that momentum. And if you find yourself slowing down and getting tired of whatever it is that you're doing, which is totally normal, then switch tasks to something else that is also productive to keep that ball rolling. For example, let's say you're cleaning up your apartment and you're getting tired and bored of that, and you can feel yourself slowing down. Rather than just stopping, try switching it up. Get on your computer, batch those emails, do your physics practice problems, or go cook a meal. Whatever you do not plop yourself down on the couch and start mindlessly scrolling on Instagram. The way this normally works out in my life is actually the reverse, where I'll be on my computer handling Med School Insiders or MEM, the business side, for a couple hours. Sometimes, on a bad day, maybe only 30 minutes, then I'm just like, oh God, I'm feeling really, out of it, I wanna stop. And then I'll switch to something like cleaning up the house, or cooking food, or getting to the gym and doing my workout routine. Doing something that is productive in some capacity. Step 4 is to trust your past self. Now, getting in a rut sucks, and I'm not aware of any foolproof way that is 100% going to eliminate that risk moving forward. But there are some things that we can do to mitigate that risk in the future. Now that you're in a position where you have some positive momentum and some motivation, seize that opportunity by actually creating some systems that are gonna help you stay on track in the future and avoid those bad habits that you just shouldn't be doing. Now, the reason I call this trusting your past self is because, sure, there are some systems you can put in place where they're completely external, right? So for example, one of my favorites is my lights will turn red to remind me to get ready for bed. That's completely external. But there are many other rules and guidelines you may want to create for yourself where you just need to trust what you decided in the past. That's why it's trusting your past self. But if you're too aggressive or unrealistic with this, you're just gonna blow past it and ignore those guidelines or rules that you've set for yourself. So for example, back when I was in med school, one of my buddies, he was trying to cut down his alcohol intake every time we went out. And he'd be like, you know what guys, I just stopped drinking, I've been having too much, I'm done. You gave it like 2 hours into the night and he was like 5 drinks deep, right? So obviously that didn't work. But in the future, later on, he realized, hey, all right, that was a little bit too extreme, I couldn't stick to that. What I'm gonna do is say no more than 3 drinks a night. And what do you know? He actually stuck to that. 3 drinks was an improvement for him. He was able to decrease his alcohol intake and he was consistent. He stuck with it. Now, regardless of where you are on the spectrum right now in this moment, maybe you're feeling really inspired and you wanna take action, or maybe you're on the other end and you're just like, dude, I can't do anything. Remember that emotions are fleeting, right? They are just directions on a compass. They are temporary by nature. And as humans, we're just really bad at estimating how we're gonna feel about doing something in the future. So don't get ahead of yourself here. And remember that it's much better to be consistent with a small behavior change over time rather than trying to take this big grand change and only hitting it once every few months, kind of like my friend with his alcohol. All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you may enjoy this one or possibly that one. Much love, and I'll see you guys there.